Hey friends, it's me, Christiana Gaudet, your Tarot Fairy Godmother. It's Thursday. That means it's time for the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter Recap. This week our topic is Silence Golden. We're talking about all kinds of communication. If you haven't yet read the newsletter, the link is right in the description. Now, what else is in the description? Today is the last day to be able to vote in the WDA Awards. Please consider voting for me. I am nominated in 3 categories, and the link is right there to do it. You can also find the link to go to StarCon and to get an appointment with me. All right. I'll let you know in advance I am a little tight for time today, so I'm just going to move right in and let's do these readings. I'm so happy to see all of you here. I really appreciate all of you. Let's bring Card Cam in and let's get going right now. All right, here we are. We're going to use Light Seers today, one of my favorites. All right. I will take these in the order in which I see them. First of all, Caroline McLaughlin, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. Thanks for using members-only emojis. It's nice to see you. Martha Vink, excellent newsletter. During the height of the AIDS crisis, the popular motto was silence equals death. Still true in many circumstances. Thank you for reminding me of that. I probably should have mentioned that. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Liz Harrison, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. I'm amazed at your ability to tune into the collective energy, as this has been my very question over the past week. Oh my goodness, thank you for letting me know that, because I really am trying to do exactly that. So it really pleases me, right? So thank you. My husband has picked up on my frustration and agitation that I'm feeling again, but I'm not sure it's worth the heavy conversation or if it's just a moment I'm having and will pass. I'm very aware of the possibility that it could just be me and nothing to do with him. Not sure to speak up and talk about it or just let myself feel the feelings. That's a very fair and nuanced and appropriate question. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I understand completely what you're talking about. So, let's look at this. And the real question here is, like, what you're feeling. Is what you're feeling coming from something in the marriage that really needs to be talked about for the well-being of the marriage? Or is this something that you're going through and should just work through on your own? And I'm going to say it's first one, then the other. Right now, you are appropriate to be in contemplation and to recognize that some of it is just you, which means you've got stuff you have to work out. Once you've done that, there may be some things you want to bring to your husband. In the meanwhile, though, he is concerned, and when he's asking because he himself is trying to be open to communication. And so I think we want to acknowledge that and reward that. Even if his concern is expressed in a gruff way, to sort of say thank you and to say, you know what, I'm just processing a bunch of stuff. I just need to be in my processing for a little while. It's okay. And let that be for now. All right. Justine, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. I'm wondering, how does my intense personality, I love your intense personality, how does my intense personality affect my ability to communicate with others in a harmonious way? Does Spirit have any advice for me on communicating in a way that is more inviting to others? And, that's fair. Honestly, I love your intense personality. I have an intense personality too, and I like to hang out with people who are also fairly intense. And I recognize that there's issues associated with all of that. You're not wrong. But looking at that, for you specifically, how does your intense personality affect your ability to communicate with others in a harmonious way? It stops it cold in its tracks, because when you see bullshit, you want to call out bullshit. When you see something you don't like, you want to say it, and that intensity comes into this sense of justice and truth, and you just want to say it, and you're not always ready or able to kind of be pulled back and more compassionate about meeting people where they are. And so it does affect you, and you'll learn over time. You will learn how to pull back your energy a little bit. Not that we need to make ourselves small for the comfort of other people, but that sometimes in conversation, like we're going to want to respond at a 10, and the correct response would be at a intensity level 5 versus 10. So it's just learning how to pull that back, and sometimes you'll be better at it than others. The thing is, this is something that affects you more, I think, like at home and in your personal life. Now, does it affect you in the work world? I mean, I think you hold it together in the work world, like we all try to do that. And in terms of friends and romance and all of that, what that does is like you feel things and you have a hard time getting closure to things, so you can hang on to a lot of uncomfortable energy when there have been kerfuffles or issues with friendship or love, and you probably let that do more damage to you than you would need. However, over time you will learn all of this quite organically and naturally. It's really fine. All right. Melissa, so nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. Are there areas of my life where I need to speak up more or stay silent more? I sometimes find I do not speak up for myself when an injustice has occurred and then harbor resentment. And I can tell you that the reason you do not speak up for yourself is you do not always know the words to say, and you're not always sure you're reading the situation correctly until after, and then you're like, oh man, I should have said something. It would have been better for everybody if I said something. So let's look. Where should you be speaking up more? When something hurts you or upsets you, you need to learn, and this is a skill, you need to practice being able to say, no, thank you. And maybe you do it with humor, or maybe you just say, that's really hurtful. Or maybe you just say, I can't be participating in that. But it's about using words so that other people's inadvertent actions, or sometimes intentional, but probably more often inadvertent, don't get to you. Now, where should you be more silent? I don't know that there's any place that you need to be more silent. I think you're good. I think you're right that, using your voice a little more. And a lot of that is practice and just like coming up with things to say. And everybody take a note. I'm going to tell you about a very old but still very good book called The Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense. Very helpful in these situations. All right. Medihan Ness, thanks for being here. Oh, I skipped your question. Martha, I skipped your question. I congratulated you for saying something, and then I skipped your question. I am so sorry. Medihan Ness, you'll be up next, but if you don't mind, I'm going to get right to Martha because I appreciated what she said and then skipped right over her question. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, Martha, your question. The other day I shared my upset about something that happened but hurt the feelings of the person to whom I was speaking. Then I felt like I was wrong to share. How do I do that better? Well, let's look at that situation. Let's look at that. Like, was it right for you to share that with that person? Yeah, you should have felt safe to be able to share that with that person. The fact that the person did not receive it well is not a judgment or repudiation of the person, but it does mean that there needs to be some more communication about how we can communicate with each other. Maybe you were right to say it, but could have said it in a different way. Maybe the person you were speaking to needs to learn how to express what's going on. And maybe we need to understand that sometimes we will hurt each other. And if we can talk it out and it's never intentional, and then that moves us forward, maybe that's okay. Hope that is helpful. All right. Mediha Ness, thank you for your patience. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. There is a long-standing family situation. Should I turn around? Should I speak up and confront? Should I make a move before speaking up? What should you do with this long-standing family situation? I'm starting to believe that every family has a long-standing situation, not to minimize the trauma of yours, but it does seem to be pretty universal. So, in your particular case, Ness, what should you do with this particular situation? Wow. Like, that all seems like so great, but what does it even mean, right? I want to say hold space for the possibility of things being better. I want to say that when you can suggest alternative viewpoints or alternative ways of looking at things, you can. But the thing is, everyone in the situation would need to be working toward the same thing. It can't just be you. So I think spiritually and emotionally, you can hold space for an improvement. You can do little things that seem to make sense when it makes sense. But unless everyone's on the same page, you can't be held responsible for this. And it's also not your job to get everyone on the same page. Nonetheless, these cards are hopeful for some resolution over time. All right. Lisa Harmon, blessings to you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. The next question I see is Rose Rose. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. In my family, words were used to spar with and play. Now I'm with people who use words to express duties. What's my next step in communicating with people with spark and harmony? And is that possible? Wow. All right. Oh, Rose, Rose, look at that card. That is so fabulous. And I think it's got to be with the right people, with people that are like-minded, that share your passions. And it's about being with people that share your passions and being able to communicate about the things that are your mutual passions. And that's really, I think, the next step here is finding the people that like the things you like and communicating with them about those things. Seriously. Caroline McLaughlin, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I love to talk. Do I talk too much? Do my guides have suggestions on how to articulate my thoughts in a meaningful but constructive and perhaps concise manner? Let's take a look. And again, thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members only emojis. Okay, do you talk too much? I don't know. I think sometimes you might have a tendency to ramble where it's not needed. And I think that usually happens when you're not comfortable. I think you will use words to fill a space when you're not comfortable. And so if you feel like you're being overly loquacious, overly talkative, look at the situation and recognize that's an anxiety response of some sort for you. Because normally I think you are an effective communicator. And yeah, you like to talk, but there's nothing wrong with that. The only time you're over talking is when something stimulates that. So when you catch it, figure out what's stimulating it and what you can do to feel better. Lisa Harmon, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you so much. There are times when I don't know what to say. There are times when I keep silent because I have my opinion, which is based on an observation that would hurt the person I'm talking to, and that's such a hard one. Right? I try to live by the ideal that unasked for advice is always criticism. So unless we're in the space of a reading where you're paying me for advice, I do try to keep silent in those situations. But I get it. I understand. Leslie Jones, I think yours is the next question. In my case, silence has not been golden, right? Yesterday, I spoke with my brother's therapist, and she told him about his Asperger's diagnosis. I'm not really sure how I can speak with him in a helpful and loving way. We barely spoke this year. How can I reach him? What would he like me to say? And yeah, spectrum, the whole spectrum brings in a whole other layer of communication complexity, doesn't it? Absolutely. So, honestly, can you just remind him of good times you had together? Do you remember when this funny thing happened? Do you remember when we did this fun thing together? And see if you can kind of find that common family ground. And also, you might want to let him know you don't bear any ill will toward him, and you are there to help. If you can help, you're there to help. Katie Kondo, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. And thank you for the very generous super sticker. Really, really, really appreciate that. And it's so interesting, the things that people are saying about this theme. Amy Foreman, to the theme, I feel safer in silence than I do in expression. And thank you, Amy, for being a member. Jackie Masters, thank you for being a member. I find that I use the silence is golden in many of the ways mentioned in the newsletter. Yeah, I get it. Thank you. And thank you for your feedback. I always appreciate it. I don't always read it aloud, but I always appreciate it. All right. Lisa Harmon, some of the people you're referring to are on medication. Right, and so they've had a diagnosis, which means they are doing their work. So you're right, it's probably best not to say anything. I wasn't sure if that was a question or if there is a question that's following, like if you wanted me to do a reading on that, or if there is a question and that was an observation. I'll keep going, but definitely let me know if that indeed was something you wanted a reading on. And Amy Foreman, Kathy, so nice to see both of you. Thanks for being members. AAC, thanks for being here. First time watching me live. I so appreciate that. Thank you. Caroline, you're also intense, right? Maybe we could start a club of intense personalities. Like, what would we do, I mean, oh gosh, that would be so funny. Let's see. Hang on, just scrolling back. Alan, nice to see you. Thank you. Should I stay silent when I see A is not understanding what my feelings are? What should I do to make sure it's taken positively? So here's the way it shows up to me. I feel like, the whole thing about communication is we can show up in good faith. We can show up in compassion, in kindness, in sympathy, in gentleness, in good faith. But if the other person cannot hear, A, there is no point in trying to communicate, and B, there is no point in trying to be in relationship with someone who cannot communicate. And I feel like you've got some issues there where there just is not honest communication. And so I think you have to see that and make decisions based on that. Lola Mannequin, did I skip you? I am so sorry. I did skip you. I am so sorry. Oh, I skipped everybody. Oh my gosh, I skipped so many people. I'm going to do you. Thanks for letting me know. And then I'm going to roll back and I'll get Kimberly because I know I skipped Kimberly. I might have skipped a couple other people. So thank you for letting me know. It does happen. It's never intentional. I'm looking at my camera here. I'm looking at 3 screens here. And sometimes my eyes just slip. And there it is. So Lola Mannequin, here we go. There is silence. Oh, Caroline McLaughlin, thank you for being a member, and thank you for the very generous super sticker. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Lola Mannequin, there is silence between me and Marcos. I'm so sorry. What would his higher self like to say to me? Ooh, I love that. I love that question. What would his higher self like to say to me? He is in conflict. Like, it's not just that the two of you are in conflict. He's in conflict, and he needs this space to figure out what's really going on and find his healing. Where this relationship is going to go is at this point unpredictable, but I can tell you this, he needs this silence right now. And the silence might be excruciating for you, but he needs it right now. So try to hold space for that and kind of be with yourself in this, and we'll see where it goes. I hope that's helpful. All right, now, and let me also acknowledge Caroline McLaughlin being a member for 9 months at the stars level. Wow, I just want to say thank you for being you. So appreciate all you do for our community. Well, thank you. You're a big part of this community, and I appreciate what you do here too. So thank you. Really appreciate it. All right, now, let me see who else I managed to miss here. Oh, Lola, thank you. I hope that was helpful. Okay, I think it was just Kimberly that I missed. If it's anyone else, let me know. Kimberly, man, this is a great question. How can I be a better communicator when I'm hurt and shut down? You know, that's the thing. When we're hurt, there's like a number of things we might do, right? We might just shut down, or we might yell and scream. That's me. Not the best either. Very few of us have the presence of mind to be able to do that. So let's see how you can do that better. And man, this could be a reading that would be good for all of us, because I don't think any of us are great at this, right? So Kimberly, how can you be a better communicator when you're hurt and shut down? Try to access, because we're assuming that whoever has hurt you is someone you actually have goodwill toward. Because if it's someone you don't, then it doesn't even matter, right? But if it's someone you actually have goodwill toward, you have to remember that you have goodwill toward this person. And I think, and this is something someone said to me today, and I think it's really smart, it's when it's someone that you have some history with and you know them to have some decency about them, even if they've screwed up and even if they're not for you or whatever, to recognize that it's most likely that whatever has hurt you was not intentional. And that is the hardest thing. If you've ever been, and I'm speaking to everyone right now, if you've ever been in an abusive situation where it really felt like the hurt was intentional, it is so hard to get out of that and to not take things personally. I struggle with this. We all struggle. Well, I can't say we all struggle with it, but many of us struggle with this. But I think that's the key. I do. Hey, Joanne Ellis, nice to see you. Oh, Martha. Oh, Kimberly, it is someone you have goodwill towards. Yep. So just remember the goodwill. It will help. And remember that the intent wasn't there. You know, the hurt was there. The intent wasn't there. Martha, as one who has kept things to herself and not expressed my feelings, I sometimes find it hard to balance when to speak and when to remain silent. Lots to think about. Thanks again. Yeah, it's hard. It's really, really hard for all of us. Caroline, you're also intense. That's so cool. Okay. Justine, damn. DH, nice to see you. Thank you. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. I tend to be an introvert. Any tips on being a better communicator? You know, I heard something once that I thought was really, really smart. And it is that introverts are not antisocial. They just hate small talk. Introverts are fine communicators. They're just not good at cocktail party conversation. And so for you, first of all, recognizing you probably do have good communication skills, you just don't enjoy chit-chat small talk. You want it to be meaningful. So How can you be a better communicator? You know, there could be some social anxiety in there too. That could be part of it. And, you know, there's a sense that you may have had some moments of feeling like you're not like the other children and you don't quite know how to fit in. So you really have two choices. One is to literally learn. Like, I bet you can Google on it. How do I learn how to do small talk? And you learn how to do small talk. You know, and we joke about it. Hey, great weather. How about them Mets? You know, whatever. But it's a skill, right? You can either learn that skill or avoid the need for it by avoiding those social circumstances and really try to spend time with people that you feel comfortable communicating with. Either is a good option, whatever feels best for you, but I want you to not see this as something that's wrong with you. Justine, preach, small talk is so not my forte, right? And I don't know if I would naturally be good at it or not, but as a minister's daughter, I had to learn. I had to learn how to do that, and so I learned. So I promise you it is a skill. Even if it doesn't come naturally, it's a skill. All right. Oh, Justine, this is good. Look up Charisma University on YouTube. They have posts of bite-sized videos with tips on small talk and related interactions. See, that's it. We just need to learn how to do these things, I think. And Justine, thanks for your kind words. Okay, so AAC. Do I need to be silent to my partner? He's distant. So do you just let that be? Do you talk to him about it? What do you do with his distance? Well, it's certainly causing you some anxiety, but what to do about it? I feel like there's some deeper issues here in the relationship. And I feel like if you could get him to talk, the two of you could have a conversation and work it out. So very gently, very lovingly, without pushing, try to get him to talk. And it might take a few tries. You got to be very gentle about it, but I think that would really help. Joanne Ellis, nice to see you. My parents ignore me from time to time if I don't fit their needs. It's very painful. It's not kind. May I have a card on this matter? Sure. Well, there's a couple things. There's like, where are your parents coming from? Let's take a look. Where are your parents coming from in this? I think they're responding to their own trauma. Like, I don't think this is about you at all. I think it's them dealing with their own stuff, their own trauma, and I think they feel like they've done their job where you're concerned. And now they have all of this to take care of. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just think that's where it's at for them. What should you do about it? I think, don't take it personally and don't think it's a reflection of how they feel about you. I think it's really much more generational. And the thing is, it makes you feel some very big ways that I don't think a conversation with your parents on this is going to help. I think you've got, like we all do, you've got some deeper issues around feeling seen, feeling understood, feeling cherished, all of that. And I think you need to do the work on those issues. Now, you may have gotten those issues from them because every parent gives their kids something to tell a therapist. But I think that this is an indicator that there's deeper stuff that you'll need to work through in a conscious way. And that will bring you to a place of healing. Amy Foreman, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. In my career, I've managed to put myself out there. Yeah, you've done a great job. Without taking on the whole official public persona thing. I like to keep most of my truth BTS. How do I ease out more and still be gentle with Amy? It's two people. You have to cultivate Amy, who Amy is, and then the Amy professional persona that you put out there. And it's not that one's a lie. One's a subset of the other. That's what it is. You show the public this much, and then you've got that which is private. And just figuring it out that way, I think really, really helps. You can even do it, like I've done it with tarot cards. My professional self is the Queen of Wands. My private self is the Queen of Cups. So you can make those distinctions. Denise Woods, nice to see you. In my situation, is it better to stay silent about a lot of things, or should I speak out? All right. It would be good to be able to talk about it, but I feel like talking about it isn't necessarily going to get you to where you want to go. So expressing how you feel is important, but recognize that you can ask and you can request, but you will not necessarily get the results you want. And that becomes a problem with who you're talking to, not with you yourself. Barbie Bird, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Love this topic. A lot of the healing I've been doing is due to the extreme silence I received after a breakup that damaged my self-worth. Why does Spirit think he chose that very hurtful route? I love this question. I love this question. Because he didn't have the skill to do anything else. Because he was being a wimp. You cannot let someone else's wimpiness cause you to feel bad about you. You're feeling like, was I not even worth that conversation? Did I, and what was done was low, but it was based entirely on this person being a wimp and not having the courage to do the right thing. So you can't let that person's lack of courage damage your self-worth. Jackie Masters, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Hang on, I just overscrolled. Here we are. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. How can I best use the art of communication and listening for my empowerment? What a great question. And while I'm making the newsletter, I'm always thinking, what are they going to do with these questions? There was a time, like a month ago, where I had to miss 2 Thursdays in a row, and I was so sad because the newsletter topics were interesting. I hate it when that happens. All right, anyway, Jackie, how can I use the art of communication and listening for my empowerment? By speaking and listening with an open heart. You have had manipulative people around you. And so there's a part of you that is always ready for manipulation, ready to defend against manipulation. You need to know that you are smart enough that if the manipulation is there, you'll catch it, and you'll catch it quickly enough. And so you can talk and listen with an open heart. Lisa, no question, just an observation. Thank you. I could have gone on for a while about it because I get it. I get it so much. All right. Joyous Ocean, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Oh, gosh, Leslie, he's a 16-year-old teenage boy on the spectrum. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Joyous Ocean, I'm glad you like the newsletter. Katie Kondo, my good friend, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. If y'all haven't seen my interview with Katie Kondo on YouTube, you should just search for it. It's there. I'm experiencing a lot of silence right now about a very important factor in my life. Will I get a yes to this? Change your scenery. Will the silence be broken, and how can I better communicate? Okay, so first of all, will you get a yes? I believe you will. I don't know when, but I believe you will. And will the silence be broken, and how can you be... The communication factor is going to continue to be an issue. You'll get an answer, but there'll still be difficult communication. And how can I be a better communicator? I think the problem is your life requires a level of patience on the daily that most of us don't have to deal with. And good communication requires a lot of patience. But you are it takes so much patience to be you day to day that it's hard for you to be a patient communicator. But being patient in your communications is a thing that would help. But you don't have to, because, you got to just do what you can do, right? All right. Hey, Sarah, I'm so happy to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. If you have time, I'd love to know how to stay connected with spirit when sometimes it feels like there's radio silence. I understand. So if you're not feeling it, and I always say this, about faith in spirit around us, the times we need it most are the times when it's hardest to feel, right? So in those moments when you're not feeling it, when you're getting that radio silence from the other side, breathe, close your eyes, and try to feel it, hear it, understand it with different senses. If you can't see it, if you can't hear it, breathe and try to feel it in your body. Go outside and find it in nature. Look for it with different eyes. Even in a reading, like if you're not feeling that connection in a reading, change up your technique in that reading. Change up the way you talk about the cards or the way you look at the cards. It'll help. Say Chong, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. What are his actions trying to communicate to me? I don't think he's in a great space right now. I think he's in a space where he is trying to find some kind of healing or some kind of satisfaction. So I think he's communicating his own issues in his own life, and I think he doesn't know how to do that. Joyce Ocean, I'm an Aries extrovert, and I also hate small talk. I hear that. Okay. Aria Wilson. When does silence become neglect in my romantic connections? When you've asked for what you need and they're not able to give it to you and not able to give you a good reason why they can't. At that moment. Choice Ocean, I love that you said we parents give the kids fodder for therapy. I say to other parents, I don't know what I'm doing. I will continue to therapy, right? Right. Joyce Ocean, your question is next. And again, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. I try to balance silence with my family. There are so many issues, but they're unwilling to speak. I've mostly given up, but I'm expected to fix the bombs. What advice do the cards have about this? You can say no to the expectation and be in your own joy and your own bliss and recognize that, if people can't come to the table, and it's not necessarily that they're unwilling, it's that they really can't, but that leaves a lot of stuff without closure, and you can't let that piss in your Cheerios. You just can't. So I think for you, some of it's about boundaries. And thank you all for the feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Joanne, I hope the generational stuff stops with me. I'm aware I'm hoping I don't put stuff on my kids because I love them and am there for them. Is it true? I think you're doing better than the past. I mean, exactly what we want. You are doing better than the generation that gave birth to you, right? And that's all you can do. You know, there's still going to be damage because there's damage. But are you doing your best and are you doing better than was done for you? 100% yes. Peggy Lou, it's so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. How can I communicate with Bill without him screaming that my thoughts and interests are BS? I've just given up on communicating with him, or should I just remain silent? Yeah, I think you've got to pick and choose what you communicate with him about. There are certain ways that he is helpful and necessary in your life. Communicate with him about those things. Everything else, he doesn't get to have that communication. Do not give him the privilege. My mother used to say, do not throw pearls before swine. I guess that's a biblical thing. And I'm sorry to call him swine, but in this case he is. So he does not deserve your pearls. Communicate with him about the things that are pertinent to him. Keep the rest to yourself because he doesn't even deserve it. Oh, Joyous Ocean, you ordered your ancestor deck from Nancy Hendrickson. That's fabulous. All right, next question. I shut down when I get hurt. Oh, I should say who it is. Baby Cakes, thanks for being here. I shut down when I get hurt by someone instead of fighting for myself. How do I express my feelings better and build better boundaries? Man, that is the one. I think any one of us could ask that question. It would be pertinent. For you. For you. Take your time in responding. Use silence as a tool. Silence can be considered a kind of pressure. Like when I took sales courses, I used to be in sales, and I learned about the silence as a sales tool. Don't try to fill the silence. So when you're trying to respond and you're upset, don't feel like the response has to be right away. Give it time and let them sit in the silence while you're getting ready to respond. Make it uncomfortable. Let it be uncomfortable. Let your silence do the work for you, and then you will have formulated something smart to say. Now, better boundaries. That's another thing entirely, because you were not taught to have boundaries. And that's a whole hurtful thing. What I'm going to say is this is not a simple answer. This requires thinking about it, doing readings, reading books, reading websites, talking to friends, how to set boundaries. That is a whole lesson plan that you want to embark on. Oh, Joyous Ocean, Peggy Lou, thank you so much for that feedback. Chris Tulo, so nice to see you. How can I open up and speak my truth? Honestly, you have to know what your truth is first. I think that you have been taught to believe certain things about yourself, about what one should do, about what is true. And so you try to act within those things, but I think you're acting within a structure of thoughts and thinking and requirements that someone else set up for you or that you set up for yourself that's not true. And so I think you need to look at what are the things that you feel are facts, requirements, situations, the immovable things in your life. Question them and question the way you're processing them and the way you're looking at them. That will help you speak your truth, because right now you don't know what your truth is. Okay. Audrey M., so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. And seeing you is a good reminder that we're having our tarot meetup this coming Sunday. I hope you can join us. I hope everyone who can join us will join us in Palm City at Panera this Sunday at 4 p.m. Audrey M., does my child, who is estranged, silenced herself from me 3 years ago, still try to communicate energetically? No, no, she doesn't. And that's because she is stuck in a way of thinking that puts her in a role and puts you in a role and forces her into a situation where she no longer has to actually do her work. So this estrangement is keeping her from growing at her own hand by her own choice. And that's why she's doing it. All right. Cancer Verma, so nice to see you. Nice topic for doing shadow work. Would love to know about silence, my silence from the universe. And the thing is, there are things in the past that really hurt you that you will need to talk about to someone, but you have to be careful about the who and the when. There are also not enough people around you that like to talk about the things you want to talk about. And so finding like-minded people to have good conversation would be really helpful. All right, I think I got through all the questions in the time I had. So how great is that? I should be back tomorrow with your Friday weekly wrap-up. The link's in the description. Read the newsletter. Today's your last day to vote for me in the WDA. Get your StarCon ticket and get a reading with me. That's all in the descriptions. I am so grateful to everyone here. Thank you especially to those who helped out with super chats and super stickers, to the members and to the moderators. Please do like this video. I appreciate all of you so very much.